Yashodanandana Rajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Rajajanaranjana Yamuna Tiravana Tari Yamuna Tiravana Tari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Rajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Rajajanaranjana Yamuna Tiravana Chari Yamuna Tiravana Chari Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jai Advaita Chanda Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jai Advaita Chanda Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jai Advaita Chanda Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So before starting, I offer my respectful obeisances to my lotus feet of my Gurudev. Namah Vishpadaya Krishna Vishabhutaya Shmati Tamal Krishna Goswami Dhyamini. Namah Vishpadaya Krishna Vishabhutaya Shmati Bhaktivedanta Swami Dhyamini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pashkarini Vishesha Srinavadi Pashkacharya. Om Agyanatimanasya Agyananganashalagya Chakshurumidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vanchakalpatarasaki Pasimhavicha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavibho Namaha. Hare Krishna. Thank you for this opportunity of service. I hope something meaningful will manifest. I was told the verse was already done, and because I got the news 5 o'clock in the morning, so we're going to do this verse. And also I slept at 3 o'clock in the morning, so my brain is scrambled. By the mercy of the devotees in our whole parampara line, I really hope something meaningful will manifest. Tabe shuklam barera kaila tandula bhakshana Hare nama shlokera kaila artha vivarana Tabe shuklam barera kaila tandula bhakshana Hare nama shlokera kaila artha vivarana Tabe shuklam barera kaila tandula bhakshana Hare nama shlokera kaila artha vivarana. Please, if you devotees, you can read. Barera kaila tandula bhakshana Hare nama shlokera kaila artha vivarana. Ladies. Tabe shuklam barera kaila tandula bhakshana Hare nama shlokera kaila artha vivarana. Tabe shuklam barera kaila tandula bhakshana Hare nama shlokera kaila artha vivarana. Tabe shuklam tandula bhakshana Hare nama shlokera kaila artha vivarana. Tabe shuklam barera kaila tandula bhakshana Hare nama shlokera kaila artha vivarana. One of the children who would like to try? Nobody ever does? Okay. Tabe, thereafter. Shuklambarira of Shuklambara Brahmachari. Kaila did Tandula raw rice Bhakshana eating Hare Nama Shlokera of the verse celebrated as such. Kaila did Artha of the meaning, Vivarana explanation, translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. After this incident, the Lord ate raw rice given by Shuklambara Brahmachari and explained very elaborately the import of the Harinama shloka mentioned in the Brihat Naradiya Puran. So please repeat. After this incident, the Lord ate raw rice given by Shuklambara Brahmachari and explained very elaborately the import of the Harinama shloka mentioned in the Brihat Naradiya Puran. Purport. Shuklambara Brahmachari resided in Navadvip on the bank of the Ganges. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing in ecstasy, he approached the Lord with a begging bag containing rice. The Lord was so pleased with his devotee that he immediately snatched the bag and began to eat the raw rice. No one forbade him, and thus he finished the entire supply of rice. I read the translation again. After this incident, the Lord ate raw rice given by Shuklambara Brahmachari and explained very elaborately the import of the Harinama shloka mentioned in the Brihat Naradiya Purana. So there are two things in this verse. Shuklambara Brahmachari and the elaborate explanation of the Harinama Mahamantra. So we'll just talk a little bit about Shuklambara Brahmachari. Also before that, it's the last chapter of the Adi Leela, and each verse basically is giving a condensed summary of major events that happened during the whole of the Adi Leela. This verse also mentions Shuklambara Brahmachari because it's a deep exchange of love between him and Lord Chaitanya. He is a resident of Navadvip and one of the branches of the Chaitanya tree. He appeared as a poor Brahmin who needs to beg for a living. Previously, in Krishna Leela, Shuklambara Brahmachari was one of the wives of the Brahmin, the Yagnik Brahmins in Vraja. Also, some people say, according to Gora Ganodesha Dipika, that he was one of the sacrificing Brahmins. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he paraphrases Mahaprabhu's speech to Shuklambara Brahmachari in his Gaudiya Bhashya to the Chaitanya Bhagavat. So Saraswati Thakur says, he paraphrases, Lord Chaitanya is speaking. He says, my dear Shuklambara Brahmachari, you are my poor servant, life after life. You are free of the mundane egoism that is prominent in householders and retired householders. That was a very significant sentence. I was trying to understand what that means. Because Prabhupada did say, you don't read my books, you study my books. And he also said, the acharya, the devotee, doesn't speak that what he doesn't mean. So when he says you are free of the mundane egoism that is prominent in householders and retired householders, what does it really mean? Well, I guess we can elaborate a lot on it, but we all have our baggage that we carry. We all know what works for us and doesn't work for us. And we can all go internal and honestly see where it applies. And pray. It's very hard to get rid of one's nature. Very, very hard. It's like turning salt into sugar. almost impossible. But we can pray. It is possible because Krishna tells Arjuna, rise above the modes. Rising above the modes, because the modes of material nature is what gives us this body, this nature, the character, who we are. We are able, it is possible to rise above the modes. So by prayer and practice, we can do it. So I'll continue what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Shukambara Brahmachari. So, you are free of the mundane egoism that is prominent in householders and retired householders. You are thus factually fixed in the highest state of spiritual life, the highest state of the renounced order. But he was just a brahmachari, though. I pray constantly for your offerings, for you have no interest in enjoying anything which has not been offered to me. Again, it's another sentence that can make us reflect deeply. You're not interested in anything, enjoying anything that has not been offered unto me. And reading that sentence, I was wondering, when will I ever come to that stage? That which is not offered to Krishna does not interest me. That which doesn't have direct connection with Krishna does not interest me. So it's a process, right? We're all going through the process. But it's good to know also what is the goal so that we can aspire. We cannot always justify where we are and make this the norm. Otherwise we will be here lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, looking for that comfortable situation. But Krishna doesn't want that. He wants us to get out. So, I'll just reread that again. I pray constantly for your offerings, for you have no interest in enjoying anything which has not been offered to me. It is for this reason that I have made a show of my power, says Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and taken everything from you, making you poor. Again, that's a very scary statement, because we know what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. When I especially favor someone, when I am especially partial to someone, I take away from that person and I give the person trouble. I don't think any one of us, we pray for that. It's a very, very high stage. It's a very scary stage. Even when we read Prabhupada's Lilamrita, when he was understanding Krishna is taking everything away from him, it was not a very comfortable state. But Krishna does that only when we are able to take it. That's the other thing. And if we ever make the mistake of saying, I really want to surrender to you, and we feel it, then Krishna may act on it. And that's scary also. I remember one time we were amongst a group of devotees in Switzerland, and we were talking about surrender. And one devotee said, actually one day I would like to come to that stage where I serve Krishna as he desires. Nothing of mine in there. Just him, his. And as soon as that devotee said that, another one replied, oh my God, no, not now. I don't want that now. It's a very scary stage, which means then he takes away. And we are like at the edge of a cliff. And there's a deep chasma, an abyss in front of us. And somebody tells us there is a bridge, an invisible bridge, because at the edge of the abyss, we need to cross to the other side. And the person says that the invisible bridge, cross it. Just trust me. That's what surrender is like. We don't know what's going to happen. When Prabhupada goes on that boat, goes to America, he doesn't know what's going to happen. And to make matters worse, he suffers 2 heart attacks. And then he has a dream of all the avatars rowing that boat and basically telling him, we are here to protect you. But for one whole year, you would think with such a dream, the President of the United States would be out there with a red carpet, welcoming that person who changed the course of history. But one whole year, nothing happened. Krishna is very mysterious. It is said, maybe Lord Shiva, maybe Narada, Brahma, they know of Krishna's plan. But nobody knows his intentions. Krishna is that mysterious. So how do you really surrender without trying to make some comfortable situation to the person who gives his beloved trouble and who doesn't give any inkling on what's going to happen, what's in the future? It takes a deep degree of love. Prabhupada says again in so many lectures, he talks about we should try to get to know Krishna. We should try to get to know Krishna. In one of the lectures of Chaitanya Charitamrita, he talks about that again and again. And he says, we should try to get to know Krishna by reading about Krishna from Krishna himself. He talks about himself in the Bhagavad Gita, who he is. He's a seed-giving father. He gives remembrance. He gives forgetfulness. We are Mama Avamsha Jiva Loke. We are part and parcel of him. We're struggling so hard with the mind and the six senses. From him comes the spiritual world, the material world. We get to know Krishna from himself. And Prabhupada continues, and at the end of trying to get to know Krishna, if you are fortunate, he makes a slight pause. And the first time I really listened to that lecture, I was cooking in the kitchen, and my mind kept running, and what the natural conclusion was, if I'm fortunate, I become an associate of Krishna. But Prabhupada doesn't say that. He said, at the end of trying to get to know Krishna, if we are fortunate, we surrender. See where surrender starts? So then, what are we doing here? Are we that surrendered? Why did we even come to Krishna consciousness? Krishna says, doesn't he? 4 types of people come to me. Curious, distressed, in search of material comfort, money, whatever. In search of knowledge. What is this world? What am I doing here? Where do we come from? 4 types. We fit into one of those, one or more of those. Now he also says something else. Out of thousands, hardly one will seek perfection. Now we came out of those 4 reasons, one or a combination of those 4 reasons. Are we seeking perfection? Really? Or just a comfortable life with a little bit of rituals, religious rituals? And not everybody will come to God when they are in distress or in search of money or curious or in search of knowledge. Not everyone. Yesterday I was listening to this lecture of Prabhupada where he said, only the pious person comes to God. The impious doesn't come. Not everyone will come. So out of those little bit of pious people who come to God, thousands of those little bit, hardly one will seek perfection. What does seeking perfection mean? I am Atma. I am not this body. And I start to act in a way. I start to practice that I'm not the body. That is seeking perfection. But still, it's a selfish reason, isn't it? I'm seeking perfection for myself. That's why he says, and out of thousands of perfected beings, hardly one knows me in truth. How many of us are perfected beings? It is so rare to be a Vaishnava. We are practitioners of bhakti. Vaishnava? Gokishore Babaji told Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, a Vaishnava is hardly to be seen in this whole universe. An assembly of Vaishnava simply does not exist except in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. So we can appreciate our good fortune that we came in contact with authentic Vaishnava practices. The only one who gets us out of this Janma Mitu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Dosha Dudarshanam again and again and again, birth, death, old age and disease, is Krishna. There is a world where when you come to this world you will never come back, he tells Arjuna. So this test of reality, we have to know. Again and again, take inventory of ourselves. Why did I come? Am I satisfied in my position? If I am, then there's something wrong. Once, long time ago, one of the leaders who left his service, he said something in class which I will always remember. That was in the early 1980s. He said, when everything is going on good for you, when there are no obstacles, no one is giving you any problems, there are no difficulties, then you have to know you're such a big rascal that not even Maya cares. Then when everything is so going good for you, for us, we have to question. Because spiritual life is dynamic. It doesn't stay stagnant. There is no comfort zone. It doesn't stay like that. It's a constant progress towards something. Oh, digression, it can be that also. Unless we are on a platform where we have a genuine attachment for Krishna, we can lose it so easily. And we know it because we have so many other attachments. We have so many other habits. It's good to know and to strive for not having them, and not that we justify them. Personally, that's a personal example. When I'm tired after long, long journeys, I like to play Angry Birds. And it kind of relaxes, but it has happened also that I played till late and I should stop and I hate myself. I cannot. We all know that, right? And in that helpless condition, sometimes I just pray to Krishna. And then I stop for a long time. It's a constant struggle. It doesn't end. But the act of trying sincerely is what is going to attract Krishna's attention. We are, in this Kali Yuga, we are really unfortunate. And what happens around, nowadays, of course, you carry your phone with you, 20, 30 years, ago, in the 80s and the 90s, it was easier. You would read Krishna book and you would go to sleep. Now, it's like you do all the other stuff is a priority, and the rounds and the reading, that you have to fit in. Whereas before it was my practice, that's a priority, and the other stuff was the hobby. Now it's changed. It becomes worse as Kali Yuga progresses. We got sidetracked a little bit. I just want to read a little bit more about Shuklambar Brahmachari. There's a lot about him, actually. So one day Mahaprabhu was sitting alone in a devotional trance when Shuklambar Brahmachari passed by, his begging bag flung over his shoulder. When he saw the Lord, he started to dance ecstatically. The Lord was pleased to see the depth of Shuklambar's feeling, and he began to glorify him. He then plucked a handful of the dry rice from his bag and began to chew it. Shuklambar was troubled to see the Lord eating the uncleaned and broken fragments of low-quality rice. Because, of course, when you're begging, you don't get the best of stuff. People give you the worst of stuff. Stuff that they're not going to use, that is almost going off, what they're going to throw away probably, that's what they give you. And that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was eating. And so Shuklambar felt that he was committing an offense. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calmed him down and said that he always eats his devotees' food with great enthusiasm, and he has no interest whatsoever in the finest food of non-devotees. The Lord said, "Listen, Shuklambar Brahmachari, I reside permanently in your heart. Whenever you eat, I eat. When you go on your begging rounds, I accompany you. I have descended to distribute the love of Godhead, and you are my servant, lifetime after lifetime. I hereby bestow upon you Prema Bhakti, which is my very soul." So in this verse, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also explained, that's the words from the verse, very elaborately the import of the Harinam shloka mentioned in the Brihat Naradiya Purana. Now, after this particular verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we know he quotes Harinama Harinama Eva Kevalam, and then he also quotes Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. So two very important verses. So Lord Chaitanya elaborately explains the import of the Harinam verse. How do we understand that? Do we understand the detail of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Do we actually really understand the detail of it? Is it so easy? So easy that sometimes it goes to the side. It just goes to the side, and we think there should be something else. We add things to it. When we first came to Switzerland, the leader had left. So it was a little bit a boat without a rudder even. And at one point, one of the devotees for Gorpunim, he brought Mayavadis from, what was this mission? Chinmaya, I think. Om Karananda. He brought a whole bunch of Mayavadis from them, men and women all dressed in orange. And they came reciting verses and doing a yagya on Gaur Purnima. It was like chanting Hare Krishna was too simple. We had to add to it. Of course, he didn't stay very long. He left. And so that, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains very elaborately, where can we find explanation of this Harinama verse, of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? We can go to his own Shikshashtakam. Now even Shikshashtakam, to understand Shikshashtakam, even the first verse of Shikshashtakam, what does it explain really? When we take the first verse, glory to the Shri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all dust accumulated for years. Let's take this bit, all dust accumulated for years. Cheto Darpana, when we read the Sanskrit. Darpana technically means mirror. Chetan means consciousness. So basically it's cleaning the mirror of the consciousness. Why mirror? It implies a reflection. Who is supposed to be reflected? I, the soul, and Paramatma. But what are the dust? Sanskaras, countless of lifetimes. We've taken on impressions. They're in seed form. And then they are slowly up to the fructifying form, fruit form. And this is when we decide to act upon something or not to act upon something. So all these countless, and this lifetime also, we are taking on so much impressions, which is scary. and we really pray to Krishna, whenever with something that we see, which we desire, actually it is scary, because like, oh my God, I do not want to take birth to come back again for that. Meaningless, whatever it is. So to understand this first verse, what is it the first verse doing? It's explaining what the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra does. Baha Maha Davagni. So once this starts, this cleansing process starts, I start to recognize what are the impressions and what are the things that I do that are based on a nature that has been acquired from karma. When I start to recognize that, the fire of conditional life starts to go down, because detachment starts to develop. The fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death, this Sankirtan movement, is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. So definitely it is explaining the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. Once I was listening to memories of Srila Prabhupada. Once Advaita Prabhu was speaking, he said, Prabhupada once asked him, why have I written all these books? And Advaita Prabhu said, for us to read Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada replied, no, it's for you to chant Hare Krishna. I know that Prabhupada also said we should read my books, but the purpose of reading the books is to understand that we should chant Hare Krishna. And if we haven't, Prabhupada said, he was saying, Prabhupada told him, if we have not understood that, there is no use reading those books. We do not really understand the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Once we were in Vrindavan, it was Prabhupada's disappearance day, and Govinda Maharaj was talking about the passing away, Prabhupada leaving, the last minute, seconds even. He was right there. And he said, and he saw Prabhupada form the words, Hare Krishna. And so I was there, I was listening, and later, that year we were staying in the same apartment as Sitala and her daughter. And we were in one room, they were in another room. And I came back and asked Sitala, why would Prabhupada say Hare Krishna? Why not Radha or Radhe or something more esoteric? Why? And she replied, I don't think any one of us really understand the Maha Mantra. Who is this Maha Mantra? And when she said that, I realized, yes, it is so simple, something that I'm chanting every day, mostly mechanically, and I am expecting something else. What can we do but pray? So that's when we come to the second verse of the Shikshashtakam. Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktish. Oh my Lord, you have hundreds and thousands of names. In each name, in each and every name, you have invested your full potency. But Dudaivam, I am so unfortunate that I have nanuraga, no attraction for any one of them. That's me. That is so many of us. That's Shikshashtakam is a progression of the practice of devotional service. That's the second verse. So when I realize that I have no attraction and I cannot do anything about it, why can't I do anything about it? Because that attraction will come when there is something in the holy name which I am loving. But the holy name is a property of Krishna. He is the one who is going to give me that attraction. So it is not depending on me. I do realize that. In reality, I know. Now I know. Then the third verse is, when I know with reality, then Chinada Pisunichena, how can I chant Hare Krishna with anything, with any pretense of any greatness? Because one of the first things of chanting Hare Krishna ease, cleaning the mirror of the heart. So when I start to see myself, what do I see? I. Who am I? 1/10,000, the part of a tip of a hair. That is my size. So small that I'm invisible. But my ahankar, it's a whole body. That's very visible. I am invisible. What is the value of my service? Invisible. And this is a real platform. It is not a pretense platform. See, because Krishna cannot reciprocate with pretense. It's not real. It doesn't exist. When Rupa and Sanatan say, we are more fallen than Jaga and Madai, it sounds like it's a good poetry. That's a thing that we should say. But Prabhupada in the lecture, he says, the devotee doesn't speak that which he doesn't feel. So when they say we are more fallen than Jaga and Madai, what is the reality? They were in the employ of the Nawab. One of them was the treasurer of the Nawab. So he would pay the people who would go to destroy Vedic culture, raise down temples, kill Brahmanas or convert Brahmanas, destroying the very basis of Vedic culture, human culture. So when they say we are more fallen than Jaga and Madai, there's a reality there. Krishna cannot reciprocate with pretense. We have to be real. We do not have to justify our weaknesses or our fallen position. When we fall, we get up. The fall down is not the test. The test is how do we get up and we continue. Fallen, we fall on anyways. And we don't know what each one of us go through. We don't know what we surrender. We cannot see that. What does surrender mean? It doesn't mean to give. It means give up. The give is very easy. The give up is not so easy to see. For example, if two people come in here, one of them gives $10,000 to the deities, the other one gives $10 to the deities. The $10,000 one will get all the recognition, the Mahaprasad, the garland, everything. Do we know their lives? Maybe the 10,000 one had 10 million and the $10 one had $20 in the bank. Actually, we know of a family. Many, many years ago, there was Abhishek somewhere in the world. And they were there and they really wanted to do the Abhishek. But it was costing 51 pounds. They had not enough money. And they went around asking people, could you please lend us that money because we want to do the Abhishek. Also give donation to the deities. So they surrendered that what they did not have. Let's give up. And incidentally, many, many years ago, or many, many years later, the family became very, very rich. So we do not understand also surrender. We do not know that because we cannot see. So what each one of us go through, we cannot understand that. So the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, as we understand it, it reveals so many things. It is a start, a practice, the cleansing process. It's a practice. It's also the goal. That's all that there is for us in this Kali Yuga. There's nothing more. He reveals everything. The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is what reveals. We do not read esoteric books to understand what is happening in the spiritual world. Those esoteric books, they are the diaries of the Goswamis, for instance, because they could see what is going on, because the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra reveals. Now, chanting Hare Krishna. How do we chant Hare Krishna? Hopefully on our stage, the cleansing stage, Nama Abhas, hopefully. We're not on the platform of Nama Aparadik anymore. The Acharyas say that the real work on the platform of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti is Anartha Nivriti, which means getting rid of impurities. We have so many. We cannot stop and be comfortable. Time, in the twinkle of an eye, our life is almost over. So we don't know if we come back or not, even though it seems to be very easy nowadays that everybody who leaves, they go back to Godhead. But we don't know that, do we? Actually, one time, Shujakiti told us, Prabhupada never spoke like that. Anyway, I'm just saying. So, first, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, do not try to see Krishna, but act in a way that Krishna sees you. Are we going to reach a certain goal? Maybe, maybe not. But we can try. And if we fail, we still try. We don't lament. Because lamenting means, I want to control. I want to succeed. And we do not know also if whatever we're doing, if it's success or failure. There is a story that one time two sannyasis, during Bhaktisiddhanta's time, they went to see him. And they said, Guru Maharaj, since we joined, we do everything right. We get up early, we study, all the practices, everything we do right. But we haven't advanced a bit. We're still on the same platform. And they started to cry. They said, we are wasting your time. Nothing has changed. And Saraswati Thakur looked at them kind of searchingly and said, do you really feel like that? They said, yes. And they became more emotional. And Saraswati Thakur said, if you really feel like that, then you are on the right path. Because if you had felt you're making progress, that would be dangerous. So spiritual practice is so mysterious and paradoxal. All that we can do is be sincere and sincerely want Krishna. Because when we sincerely want Krishna, then He arranges things. Recently we went to Dubai. Can I tell the story? We went to Dubai and we had one night where we had kirtan, and the devotee where we stayed, he arranged everything with loudspeakers and all that. And that devotee in Dubai, he actually doesn't preach to Indians, which has become the norm nowadays. It's so comfortable. Just preach to Indians. My Guru Maharaj, he said, he actually got on the case of the devotees in Houston, saying, there is no glory in making it an Indian a devotee. They are already devotees. You should go. He was actually talking to the Indians. He said, you came here to take the money of the country, go and make Americans devotees. So this devotee in Dubai, he preaches to non-Indians. So there's a whole mixture of them, from the Middle East, actually. People from the Middle East. So we did our kirtan. We had a little speech. Madhava Prabhu did kirtan. And the next day, I think Radhapriya wrote to Madhava and said, my son is in Dubai. And Madhava then immediately, he wrote to Radheya and said, we are in Dubai. And Radheya immediately sent a message. He said, this is crazy, bro. This is so crazy. I was going through such a hard time. And he had come at a crossroad in his life. And he was praying to Krishna desperately. He did not know what to do. He steps out on the balcony. He hears Madhava is doing kirtan. What are the odds in Dubai? He did not know there were any devotees around. He'd been there since August of last year. And this devotee where we stayed, he does kirtan every week with the same setup. Gauravani was there, many devotees go through. He never heard anyone. But that particular night, when he had to take a life-changing decision, completely broken, he steps on the balcony and he hears kirtan. And he knows Krishna is real. And immediately, Madhava contacts him and he comes to see us the next day and he tells us the whole story. It was really, he was at crossroads. Either he chooses Krishna or terrible challenges. And it was so clear what he had to do. Krishna is real. From the platform of helplessness, when we really call out to Krishna, when we have nothing that we can do, he hears us. Prabhupada says Krishna is not ungrateful. So this we can trust. And when we do our practice, whatever it may be, we can trust that Krishna is real and I'm trying my best, but I have to try my best. But like sometimes we had this friend initiated and tells the Guru, oh, Gurudev, I cannot chant 16 rounds, I have too much to do. And Guru says, okay, what can you do? You know, if you can't chant 16, you can't chant 16. What can I do? It's free will. But then he watches movies for hours at night. I mean, yeah. We have to be a little bit real and honest. If we want something of ours for us, then we have to expect birth and death again and again. Even though we can't practice it immediately, we can aspire. Then maybe Krishna makes arrangement or takes away the taste. I know that for myself, you know, I mean, we should not really talk about oneself, but sometimes we go through experience that is kind of amazing. I had this big attraction to read novels, and when Harry Potter came out, I read 24 times over and over again. And I was so obsessed by Harry Potter that, because I'm from Mauritius, I also speak French and I read French. I bought the book in French, trying to squeeze some juice out of it. So I would read in English, in French, and I realized is this crazy? Because then when I would go to the temple to cook for Krishna, I was walking on the road. It was like what was going on in my mind was a real world, which was Harry Potter, and all the rest was insane. And then Kartik came, and I said, this Kartik, I will not read at all, because I was so addicted. So I did not read. That was Kartik 2009, and I have been clean ever since. I never ever read any novel anymore. But I should get rid of Angry Birds. It's a process, but we have to try. That trying has to be sincere. I think time's up. If anybody would like to, please share experience. You know, that's what actually encourages, inspires us. Anyone? Come on, no one? Yes, Prabhu.
I read recently where Prabhupada said, giving us an encouragement this day, he said we should chant it with care, but with affection. Care and affection. That's really sweet.
Yes, that's right. I mean, we do so much strange japa. House cleaning japa, magazine reading japa, computer message reading japa. This is not care and affection. Yeah. If we can do something, we can do, okay, half an hour. I know I'm really bad. Half an hour I will devote just to my japa in a sacred spot in my home. When no one's going to go, and even if somebody comes to disturb me, like, half an hour, please just give me this half an hour. We can start something somewhere. That shows a sincerity of wanting to be Krishna's, connected to Krishna. Yeah, thank you. Anyone wants to say something?
I just want to say thank you for that, this class. It's just really straight to the heart because it was excellent. What can I say? Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpata Patitanam Bhavaya Vaishnava.